Hi, it is Jane, and I am showing you the shirt that I did make, and I'm going to take you through the process that I used. There are a lot better techniques and other people that can guide you through this. This is not meant to be a tutorial. It is just what I did to create this shirt. This shirt was too small for me, and I do like that it is baggy, roomy enough. I mean, I like clothes that are kind of loose, and this is something I can throw on in the winter over another shirt. In fact, I do have another shirt on underneath this shirt because I just chose to throw it over me. This would probably fit. This is one of those projects they say that you can turn it into something that fits someone small all the way up to 3X. I will tell you, I prefer a 4X. Because I do like that big roomy extra room. So this definitely will fit a 3X to a 4X. So it's a very versatile way to reuse and to keep things that you would like to keep, or even if you see a t-shirt you like out there but it's way too small for you, you can upcycle it to where you can wear it. I did choose this this flannel. There's probably some other better flannels that I could have chosen, but I'm okay with this flannel. I don't mind it. Yeah, I hope you'll stay along for this little trip down my sewing vlog. Yeah. Now I have my t-shirt laid out on my cutting board. And what I'm basically going to do is I am going to choose where I'm going to start cutting. And I am going to look to make sure that I am getting pretty much a straight line. I am going to go as close, well, you can't see that. Let me see if I can. All right, I'm going to go as close to the armhole as possible. And I am looking to line this up fairly straight. And I use the markings on my mat for that. What I'm basically going to do is I am going to use a chalk marker to mark. You could use a marking pen. Just because my ruler will not fit all the way down my shirt. So I want an idea of where I'm going to be cutting this. You cannot see the line. It is very faint. But it helps to give me a guide of where I'm going to cut. Now I'm going to use a rotary cutter. You could use scissors. It's entirely up to you what you want to do. But I am going to come up with my rotary scissors and I am going to cut along that line. And I have straightened it out as much as possible. And I'm going to finish that cut all of the way through the top. Now, there's one of two ways you can do this. You can actually take the shirt and just fold it in half completely along your sleeves here and your neck. Find the center point and do that. I am actually just going to pull this over and find a line to mark on my shirt. Straighten that out as much as possible. This is, since it is a plus size shirt, many times there's a lot of extra. So I'm going to find that point. And you could actually make sure that you're doing it You could line up one ruler up against the other. Like I said, I am just going to work it this way and just go from there. All right. Now I can see where my line is, so I'm just going to actually just cut. And I am going to cut from this side of the table. And that's it for the shirt. Now I do save these because there's a lot of things you can do with these. You could toss if you wanted to. Now my shirt is ready to start being pinned, but now I need to get the flannel ready to go. So I'm going to toss that off to the side. I'm going to get my flannel laid out. And I have decided that I do not want the pocket. So what I'm going to do before I start cutting this is I am actually going to take the pocket off with a seam ripper, and I'm not going to show you that part. So let me go do that, and then I will come back. Now there's a lot of thoughts on this process about where you want to cut your flannel. I have laid this out as flat as possible. I do know that I want to get as much possible sleeve this way because it is so much smaller. So one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to go right up here to where the neck is. You could follow your line of your plaid if you wanted to completely stress-free and cut it. Cut up one side and down the other with scissors. I am just going to use my rotary cutter and just cut it, and I'm not worried about it. I just think that's a little bit of too much stress to worry about that kind of thing. I am going to take it down across the bottom of the hem, and I am cutting through both layers. I know that's off camera, but this gives me this amount to work with to add to the sides of this sleeve. And like I said, I'm not worried about the way that that sleeve works up. So I'm going to do this for the second side. Just simply going to bring that sleeve over, straighten that out as much as possible, smooth it out. And I'm going to make a cut. So I'll do that, and I'll see you back here in just a moment. The rest of this is fairly easy. You're simply going to take your shirt and you're going to start pinning at the top of the seams there. Now this, because there's no seam at the top, you could mark a spot here letting you know that that is the center. I'm just going to start with pins and going to put a pin right there because I know that is the center top part of the sleeve. And you want to pin these right sides together. So you want to make sure that your top is in the right position where you want it. You don't want your sleeves backwards. Although maybe you do, I don't know. I don't. So I am going to make sure that that is in the right position where I want it. I am going to just open up this. And lay it along there. Right sides together where that top seam is. And just right sides together, and I'm just going to start pinning that together. Then you would take it to your sewing machine or your overlock, your serger, whatever your choice is, and you would just sew that along there. But you're going to either pin or clip this all the way down. And yes, I am going to have some extra down at the bottom, and I'll decide what I'm going to do with that at that point, if I'm just going to hem it or some other choice. There are a lot of choices. But yeah, that's all you're going to do, just pin it down the side and take and sew it up. And from there you can decide what you want to do with the hem. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll come back and show you that portion. Now ideally this is not a good spot for me with filming, but I am going to kind of run you through it, what I'm going to do here. I am going to take my fabric, and I am going to start sewing with my serger. As you can see, I've got a little bit of extra on the end there, and that's perfectly fine. I am going to get that started. It's going to be a little noisy. I am going to mute this when I get to the video, but thought I would show you at least the beginning. You're just going to sew, use your serger or sew it with sewing machine, whatever your choice is. And yeah, I'm going to just run this. And I do remove the pins beforehand. As you can see, I'm not taking a lot off. I don't find that necessary. So yeah, that's basically all I'm going to do here. And then you're just going to repeat for the other side, and then we'll get over to the table, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do with the hem part. What you're seeing here is the bottom part of the shirt that I have, and I am going to cut it across from here down about 1/4 of an inch so that it can even up these edges here, so it'll look like a straight seam. But basically that is all there is to putting this shirt together. And I mean, it's real simple. And if you don't have a serger, you could use a sewing machine, use a zigzag, straight stitch, whatever. Since there is fabric here that is a knit fabric, I would use a zigzag, or if you have a foot that does an overlock stitch, I would consider using that on this. So yeah, that's it for this. When you see this, it'll be all finished, and like I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim up these edges a little bit to where I can get pretty close to a straight edge, and I'll hem it, and then it will be done. The only other thing I'm going to do is I am going to measure down on these sleeves. Most likely I'm going to make these 1/4 sleeves. I don't really care for the closed-in sleeve, but I'm going to try that on first. If I choose to leave it this way, I will leave it this way. Since this is a man's shirt, the arms may be a little bit too long for me, but we'll see what I'm going to do with that at the very end. Alright guys, that is it. Hope you enjoyed this short little video. You don't need to see me hemming, because hemming is pretty easy. It's a simple task, so yeah, there is that. Alright guys, I will see you again for another installment at a later date. Everybody have a great week. And here is the shirt finished. I did choose to use something a little bit different. Chose to cut off the sleeves and to do a little bit of a 3/4 sleeve. This is a shirt that was way too small for me. Adding on the flannel increased it enough so that I can use it. And it's just a fun way to play with some of the things that you have. This was a shirt that I had ordered mistakenly. Could have given it away, but I chose to keep it because I love the saying that's on it, you know. So, yeah, that's how this turned out. I hope you enjoyed the video. There are a lot of better ways to do this, to put it together, but it is what it is.